Let's talk about the bird.
Let's talk about it.
You blew that thing up, dude. I mean, just absolutely dead. Okay? That bird is obviously no longer with us, but that man who threw that ball is joining us with DirecTV about bird ballparks around the place so that birds can safely watch a baseball game. At what moment did you realize that this is going to be talked about forever? And what is the first thing that goes through your mind as that bird kind of gets destroyed with a 100 miles an hour fastball?
I think that was a spring training game down in Tucson in 2001, throwing the pitch in a spring training game against the San Francisco Giants. I think it just kind of caught everybody. It kind of caught everybody off guard. I'm like, what was that just happened? I thought initially that maybe someone had thrown something, and then the impact of the pitch pushed the bird over to the on-deck circle, and Jeff Kent, who was on deck, picked it up. And I think at that time, everybody, myself, all the players, everybody in the stands, if you didn't realize what happened then, you did when he was holding up what was left of the bird. So 23 years later, they're still talking about this. Like you said at the intro, 10 All-Star games, won 300 games, close to 5,000 strikeouts, MVP of a World Series.
And?
And I'm recognized and remembered for killing a bird.
With your bare hands. Yeah. With your bare. Could you imagine if another bird was right behind it? We had two birds, one ball.
Oh man.
My! It would be the ultimate metaphor.
And the bird that got away would go home and say, "Sorry, Joe's not coming home tonight."
Yeah, of course. The bird brains are something that certainly recognized what was happening in this situation there. Randy, let's talk about how you played baseball and how you threw baseballs. Because we went through a little, once we learned you could come on the show, we're like, we got to go through some big unit highlights. Mm-hmm. We go back. Obviously, you will remember this, but we did not. All-Star game, you sail one over Kruk's head, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the commentators said, obviously, this one got away from Randy a little bit. But if we watched you pitch any other time, you weren't scared on that first pitch to let her batter know, like, hey, I can hum this thing right at your face if I wanted to. This on purpose, this first one here?
That's an All-Star game in 1993. And I think the ball just kind of slipped out of my hand. It was a little humid there. And then luckily I was able to follow up the next three pitches and John Kruk kind of swinging at it. And he was a good sport. It was a showcase of the game, and I think that was a highlight that everybody remembers as well. Maybe not as much as the bird, but it was a pretty funny highlight of my career and of his as well.
Mr. Unit, about that. So when you were in Seattle with Junior Griffey, did you guys just talk about that when you guys were done playing baseball, that you guys were just going to dominate the photography game after you were done playing baseball? Because it's awesome and hilarious to see you in these pits, photography pits and stuff like that on the sidelines of these ball games.
6'10" right there.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I've been doing this since I went to college at USC. I studied photojournalism then, and I worked for the college newspaper and got a better understanding of photography and all that, and I really enjoyed it. And then that kind of took a backseat to my career that was about ready to happen, and I had to immerse myself into being the best that I could, because I knew I was hoping that would be my livelihood, not photography. Luckily, baseball worked out. And then after, baseball came to an end after 22 years, then I, dusted off my camera and started going on some trips. And the next thing you know, I've been to Africa 6 times, and I've had an exhibit in Cooperstown, New York, home of the Baseball Hall of Fame. And right now, presently, I have an exhibit in Scottsdale at the Scottsdale of the Performing Arts. So my photography has got to next level. And Junior and I have talked. Junior is just kind of getting into it now. He's talked to me a couple of times about going to Africa because he knew that I had been going there. And so I think for me, it's just a passion. It gives me an outlet of trying to be creative and get my mind right and be focused. There's some parallel to photography and pitching. When I'm going to Africa or going somewhere on a photography trip, there's a lot of preparation. Well, it's no different than tomorrow I'm pitching against the Atlanta Braves, and I got to know who's going to be in the lineup, or most likely who's going to be in the lineup, and know their strengths and weaknesses, and then be able to go out and execute. Well, when I'm going on a photography trip, where am I going? What type of the year am I going? What's the weather going to be like? What kind of camera gear do I need? What am I looking to achieve there? Things like that. You need to put into time and effort, and then hopefully you get the results.
Yeah, we're looking at the pictures right now. I mean,
yeah,
that's awesome.
You told the zebras to line up right there? You said, hey, right here, single file.
Wow.
I'll throw a baseball in your head. Yeah, ask the bird.
Over here, look at me. I'm taking a picture.
6 trips to Africa. I've been watching some videos on the internet. You need not be in one of those vehicles, with one of those right there, when an elephant is pissed off. These elephants been knocking these things over.
Yeah.
And these elephants, they talk. They talk to each other. They're knocking these things over. Look at that shot. Are you in there? You're in the safari doing this?
That's nothing for an elephant to get mad and knock that thing over.
So what are you doing? You got full
ghillie suit.
Ghillie suit on. You're out there 2-3 days. You're sneaking up on these animals. How's this whole thing work?
Well, I just I initially went. It was a family trip, and then I got more involved in it, and I really enjoyed it. And it was a great outlet for me to do photography, and I just really had a great time. Like I said, preparing where I was going, and it wasn't just the animals that I was seeing. It was a lot of trips that I would go to a remote area, like I'd go to Rwanda and go trekking up into the mountains and go see the silverback gorillas. That was something different than seeing a lion or something. I'd go and do that, but I would go and see a 700-pound linebacker walking through a bamboo forest.
What's that, cheetah that was staring at you right there? Not this one, not the sand one, the next
leopard. Yeah.
A leopard?
Yeah, leopard. We were driving around a perimeter of a hilltop, and we knew there was a leopard up there, and we couldn't find it. And then all of a sudden he popped out and said, here I am. I know you guys have been looking for me. Here I am. I know where you are too.
That's awesome. Do you think, was it at that moment you thought about, this leopard has no idea?
Where's my bag of baseballs? Where's my ball?
I will put that thing high and tight on that chin. You keep looking at me like that.
I think seeing this stuff and taking a picture of that, it's just pretty cool stuff. And there's obviously a lot more photographs that are on display from Ethiopia, and I had a pretty interesting time in Ethiopia and seeing the Ethiopian people there and understanding how they live and their culture, and being able to take some photographs of them, and then this stuff just kind of comes back 180. When we were growing up, I'm a little bit older than you, but when you're growing up and you're in 6th or 7th grade, you're looking at the National Geographic with the Ethiopian lady with the plate in her lip. Well, I've been to Ethiopia on a couple of different occasions. I'm taking these pictures of the same thing, and I'm catching myself thinking, wow, I remember when I was a younger kid looking at these pictures. Now I'm taking them and I'm putting them on an exhibit myself.
Pictures from the picture is really beautiful.
There it is. So cool.
And we're so thankful you joined us today.